2 minutes. Please take your seats and silence all electronic devices. You may use your devices during the ceremony for photos and videos, but please ensure that your devices are on silent. Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats. The ceremony will begin in 2 minutes. Ladies and gentlemen. Okay. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the National Museum of the United States Army, Fort Belvoir, Virginia. Today, we honor Colonel Promotable Ronald D. Sullivan on the occasion of his promotion to the rank of Brigadier General. The presiding officer for the promotion ceremony is the Judge Advocate General of the Army, Lieutenant General Stuart W. Risch. The official party consists of Lieutenant General Stuart W. Risch and Colonel Promotable Ronald D. Sullivan. My name is CW3 Jessica Marset, and I will be the narrator for today's event. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the arrival of the official party and remain standing for the playing of the national anthem and the invocation. Chaplain Varnum.
Let us pray. Almighty God, creator of all, as we gather to celebrate the promotion of Ron D. Sullivan to the rank of Brigadier General, our hearts are filled with happiness for him and his family. You have prepared Ron for this day and blessed him with a special trust. You endowed him with abilities of mind, body, and spirit, more than equal to the task. You gave him leaders, mentors, peers to help him along the way. You sustained him and protected him in days of difficulty, remembering that to whom much is given, much is required. I ask you to direct his steps and give him the strength to carry out his new responsibilities. Endow him with the spirit of wisdom and justice. Oh God, I ask a special blessing on his family as Ron takes on new, greater responsibilities. Please keep them in your keeping care. I ask the Holy Spirit to reign in this ceremony and cover this event with your presence. In your holy name I pray, amen.
Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. On behalf of Lieutenant General Stuart W. Risch, I would like to extend a warm welcome to all of the family, friends, and colleagues who are gathered here today in a time-honored military tradition as we pay respect to this important milestone in Colonel Ronald Sullivan's Army career. At this time, I would like to introduce the Sullivan family. Colonel Sullivan's wife, Nicole, his sons, Brandon and Colin, his mother, Mrs. Clementine Sullivan, his mother-in-law, Mrs. Sonia Wright, father-in-law, Mr. Eddie Floyd, brother, Richard D. Sullivan Jr., all participating via Zoom, his other brother, Mr. Royce Sullivan, his brother-in-law, Mr. Thomas Townsend II, his uncle, Mr. and Mrs. Gonzalez Sullivan, and uncle, Reverend and Mrs. Michael Sullivan, also participating via Zoom. Please join me in welcoming them. We would like to extend a warm welcome to our distinguished visitors. Please hold your applause until the end. Major General retired Kenneth Gray, former the Assistant Judge Advocate General of the Army, is participating via Zoom. Major General retired John Altenberg, former Deputy Judge Advocate General. Brigadier General William B. Dyer III, Commanding General, United States Army Reserve Legal Command. Brigadier General Jerry Krimble, Chief Judge for the United States Army Court of Appeals, IMA. Brigadier General Aaron McMahon, Principal Deputy General Counsel, Office of the General Counsel. Brigadier General George Smalley, Commander, United States Army Legal Services Agency and Chief Judge, United States Army Court of Criminal Appeals. Brigadier General Jaime Arizaga, Special Assistant to the General Counsel, National Guard Bureau. Brigadier General retired Mitchell Chitwood, former Commander, United States Army Reserve Legal Command. Brigadier General retired Earl Glanville, former Commander, United States Army Reserve Legal Command. Brigadier General retired Leanne Birch, former Commander, United States Army Reserve Legal Command, is participating via Zoom. Brigadier General retired Marilyn Schufalo, former Commander, United States Army Reserve Legal Command. Ms. Carrie Ritchie, Associate General Counsel of Marketing, Regulatory, and Food Safety Programs, Department of Agriculture. Mr. Matthew Ramsey, Executive Director, Office of Privacy and Disclosure, Social Security Administration. Colonel retired Lawrence Morris, Chief of Staff and Counselor to the President of the Catholic University of America. Chief Warrant Officer 5, Ron Prescott, Chief Warrant Officer of the Army JAG Corps. Chief Warrant Officer 4, Hector Colon, Command Chief Warrant Officer, United States Army Reserve Legal Command. Command Sergeant Major Michael J. Bostic, Regimental Command Sergeant Major. Command Sergeant Major Sabretta Pompey, Command Sergeant Major United States Army Reserve Legal Command. Command Sergeant Major Beth Kissy, Command Sergeant Major 372nd Quartermaster Battalion, as well as all of our special guests, soldiers and civilians, attending today's ceremony in here and via Zoom. Please join me in welcoming them. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor to present the 41st Judge Advocate General of the United States Army, Lieutenant General Stuart W. Risch.
Well, good morning. and welcome, an extremely warm welcome. It's great to look out and see lots of friendly faces, lots of familiar faces, some that we haven't seen for a while. And all I could think of as that list was being read, and a great job by Chief Morissette as always, is you must be a really important guy. This is awesome. Now, it is a true testament. It's an honor to Ron, well, to the Army, to the legal command, to our regiment, but to Ron and his family as well, too. That so many folks have turned out today to witness this ceremony, some in their finest duds, I see, which is really cool. So it's great to be here. Isn't this an awesome facility? Just truly long overdue, I think we all agree, for our Army, and just a great choice. It remains to be seen who you chose to run the ceremony, how great a choice that was, but I'm honored to be able to do that, Ron. So thank you so much. I appreciate it. I am going to speak from the podium here initially, if you'll indulge me, because I've got some, while Chief Morissette did a wonderful job, I'd like to highlight a few individuals, and obviously that would be Ron's family in particular, but I'll come back to them in a second. A couple of folks that I'd like to welcome. You know, Major General Gray, you heard that he is on Zoom, and I could not be any happier that he gets to watch this. I know that he would have been here in person. I know that he's been a mentor to you. I know how much he cares about you and cares about our regiment. For those who don't know, we have named a lecture series at our schoolhouse in honor of Major General Gray, as well as Colonel Prop Fowl. And it's a lecture series on diversity, equity, and inclusion, named after Major General Gray, and he will be our first speaker. We're just waiting to come out of this COVID environment where we can actually have him come to Charlottesville. And I think that was his concern as well in traveling here as well, but it's great that he could be here. And I know General Altenberg wanted to be here as well too. I can only hope that he's watching on Zoom. So good morning, sir. Another mentor for you and somebody who cares about you. So I know that he wanted to be here with you today. I'm very pleased that our United States Army Reserve Brigadier Generals, past and present, are here in force, looking marvelous, I should say. As you heard, Brigadier Generals Bill Dyer and Jerry Krimble. In a moment, the dynamic duo will become Los Tres Amigos again. So, and we're happy about that. And I know that they're happy not only for you, but they want to share the workload with you. And it's waiting, so it's coming. We've also got Brigadier Generals, as you heard, Marilyn Chifulo, Euro Glanville, Leanne Birch via Zoom, and Mitch Chitwood. And I'm looking over at old and dear friends, and it's really great that you all could come out to support your teammates here. Extremely cool. Brigadier General George Smalley, the commander of our United States Army Legal Services Agency and the chief judge for the Army Court of Criminal Appeals. Snuggle up to him because that's the job you're getting real soon here. So, and I'm sure you know that, and you're more than up to the task. And I think, George, I saw his inbox the other day and it actually said the name Sullivan on it. I didn't understand that, but so I think it's waiting for you. We've also got our National Guard Brigadiers General here, Brigadier Generals Aaron McMahon and Jaime Arzaga. Great to see you both. So thanks for coming out. Jaime just recently promoted himself. Well, it's probably a month ago, time flies, but a great ceremony there as well. We're also extremely fortunate to have two former members of our regiment now serving within the senior executive service. And the first is Ms. Colonel Retired Carrie Ritchie. Carrie, we're right there. So Carrie, an old and dear friend from the days of 4th Infantry Division when we worked together with Colonel Dick Gordon, the former honorary colonel of our regiment. As you heard, she's an associate general counsel with the Department of Agriculture, but what you might not have heard and you might not have read about is the President of the United States has nominated Carrie to serve as the Department of the Army General Counsel. So she just has a minor hurdle in between her and that job, and that might be called the Senate confirmation here, but she's more than up to the task. We'll help her get ready for that, and I look to be joined at the hip with Carrie and the Department of the Army General Counsel as well. And we've also got, as you heard, Colonel Retired Matthew Ramsey, the Executive Director of the Office of General Counsel, Privacy and Disclosure, Office of General Counsel at the Social Security Administration. So Matt, great to see you again as well. It seems like only yesterday it was your retirement ceremony, and I'm sure that's been a while now. So Chief Warrant Officer of the Corps, CW5, Ron Prescott, great to have Ron here as well. Our Regimental Command Sergeant Major Mike Bostic, who is dressed in his finest. You'll see him participate in the ceremony in a short amount of time. And then Chief Cologne, Command Sergeant Majors Pompey, Kissy, and Turner, great to have you here as well. And I noticed as well another name that was read, and that's Colonel retired Larry Morris. You will not want me to embarrass him. He is in the back of the room. But when you look through Ron's file, as I've had a great chance to do, you see Larry Morris's name all over that file. And I know Ron considers you, Larry, a great mentor, as so many do. Extremely nice to have you here today. And I know that Ron will have some comments here, but just I'll leave it at that. Great to have you here as well. And now turning to Ron's family. So in addition to obviously his wife, Nikki, and his sons, Brandon and Colin, who I'll talk about in detail in a little while, they're two amazingly talented sons, as you'll hear. We have Ms. Clementine Sullivan, his mother, who I got to spend some time with in the back, talking to her a little bit. Not only Ron's mother, and that would be enough of a claim to fame right there, hailing from San Antonio, made the trip in from San Antonio, but a military Air Force spouse for over 20 plus years. In addition, a homemaker for over 20 plus years, raising three wonderful sons, two of whom are here today and one watching on Zoom, and then chose to start her own career as a special education teacher in San Antonio. And she did that for another 20 years as well. So truly, thus far, a life well lived, and then you've got a long way to go as well too. But today's a very special day for you. I'm glad you could be here with us in person to watch this. You built him. You molded him from the ground up, you and his father. And that's in the category of we certainly wish he could be here to celebrate with us, is that he falls squarely in that is Ron's dad, Mr. Richard D. Sullivan Sr. He recently passed away in 2019 at the age of 78. Born and raised in Detroit, Michigan, he enlisted in the Air Force at the age of 17. Needed a signature from his mom to enlist in the Air Force, but he did. And he served his time in the equivalent of our 71 Lima or 42 Alpha. So he was administrative subject matter expert. And his last few assignments were spent, as I understand it, Kelly Air Force Base and Lackland Air Force Base in San Antonio. So after 21 years of service, they decided to stick down some roots in San Antonio and retire. He retired at the senior rank of Master Sergeant, Air Force Master Sergeant, but he wasn't done yet, not by a long shot. After that, he served as a preacher and a pastor for over 40 years, while also serving as a DA civilian at the Army Medical Library on JBSA there for over 20 years again. 3 separate careers while also raising 3 incredible, amazing sons. Truly awesome as far as I'm concerned. And the whole time he had a loving wife right by his side who was serving as an Air Force spouse, raising a family, serving as a pastor's wife, and then retiring from her own extraordinary career after 20 years. So to me, it's no wonder that Ron and certainly his brothers as well turned out to be the amazing young men that they did. So thank you to you. Thank you to your husband. Thanks to the whole family. If you'll join me in a warm round of applause for Mom. Mom and Dad. So I'd ask Ron's younger brother to stand up, please, if you would. This is his little brother. I thank you very much. This is Royce, who I thought was going to be on Zoom, but he's here in person, and I'm glad because you're just larger than life in person. So I would assume you listened to what your younger brother had to say growing up. No, you did not. You had to put a whooping on him every now and then, I would assume. Okay, good. That's why he turned out so well. Whoopings are good. And Mr. Richard D. Sullivan Jr., Ron's older brother, is on Zoom from San Antonio. So welcome to you, sir, as well. Ms. Sonia Wright, his mother-in-law, is where? No? Oh, in Zoom. Okay, that's right. I apologize. I'm on the Zoom category. And Mr. Eddie Floyd, his father-in-law, is also on Zoom from Montgomery, Alabama. And we had a great talk about it in the back room. I got a tip that he was a recording artist, and not only a recording artist, but a Hall of Fame soul singer, And if you ever heard this song, which I know you have, because I was told today, it is one of the, before Michael Jackson, remind me again, the most re-sung, re-recorded song in the history of songs, Knock on Wood, You Better Knock on Wood. Let's sing it. Okay, if you know the words, let's go. Let's go. And also another song called Raise Your Hand was performing right up until, a while ago. So sir, I was hoping you were here because I was looking to get an autograph. So maybe you can send me one in the mail, but I did actually get on. That's what's great about Google. I got on Google and I listened to the songs. Obviously I knew what song it was, but it was great to not only see him and his album covers and to see just how great, and you'll understand the tie to the family there as well. Mr. and Mrs. Gonzalez Sullivan, aunt and uncle, tapping in from Detroit, and Reverend and Mrs. Michael Sullivan, aunt and uncle, tapping in via Zoom from South Carolina. So fantastic. Great to have you all with us. And now it's time to turn to his lovely bride and two sons, two amazing sons I've talked about before. So Nikki, they've been married for 24 plus years now, coming up on 25. Hope you got big plans for number 25, smart man. You didn't get to be a big brigadier general without being smart on that type of stuff. But here's where it causes me a little concern. So they met at Notre Dame at a summer law program to get Nikki ready. She was on her way from Indiana University undergrad to go to Indiana University School of Law. And Ron was there having completed his first year of law school. And he was a teaching assistant. Stay with me, teaching assistant and student. There's a reason we've never assigned Ron Sullivan to teach at our schoolhouse, apparently. Because I don't know what he was teaching, but you were buying, that's for sure. So that's great. No, that's awesome. And she now works as a licensed attorney at the National Institutes of Health. So, while also raising two amazingly talented boys as well, too. As she told me in the back room when you left, all on her own as well, too. She takes complete responsibility for those. Yep. And you willingly give it to her. Smart man, I'm telling you, I knew you. And Brandon is here as well, too. Born in Watertown, New York, while they were at their first assignment at Fort Drum, way back in, I can't even remember what that was, 98 timeframe around there. He now lives in Austin, Texas. When I asked if he was keeping it weird or it was keeping him weird, he looked at me like I was weird. So I let that question go. He's a recent graduate of the Recording Conservatory of Austin. And as I said, an extremely talented musician, plays a number of different instruments. As I understand, trombone was placed in his hand early on and played that. But he plays the guitar as well. And he said, he just threw it off like, yeah, I play some keys as well and some other things. I'm sure he can play about 15 different instruments, which is fantastic. And he has now founded his own sound engineering company in Austin entitled Floyd One Studios. And if you go back to what I talked to you about before, grandfather, last name of Floyd, you understand who was kind of pushing him along the way. Maybe not pushing, just gently suggesting to you while you. So that's awesome. It's great to have you here as well. And then Colin, their son, who's 19, was born in Bethesda Naval Center. While Ron was assigned, Ron and Nikki were assigned to Contract Appeals Division. He now attends Purdue University in Indiana, and he is a football player. So of course you'd have to ask, my first question was, wow, how, when you're in the middle of football season, how do you, and they have a bye week this week. So Ron, yet again, a smart man. I don't know if that was your idea or her idea. You're taking credit. Okay, good, fantastic. But he's got a bye week so that he could be here for it. A liberal arts major seeking a business degree with a concentration in entrepreneurship. And I understand you get the BA if you can simply pronounce that word by the time you graduate. Entrepreneurship, so great. But again, a great football player. He was a star wide receiver in their hometown of Round Rock, and then goes to Purdue University. And every once in a while, I'll see on Facebook a boiler up on Saturday morning from Ron's post, which is great. I can only imagine the joy that you get in going to see him play. Redshirt freshman, now on the kick return team, on the depth chart, as we talked about this morning, behind one of their star wide receivers who's likely to go in the draft this year. opening up a spot. So we may be heading out to Indiana to watch a game if you're playing there as well too. So fantastic. Two extremely pleasant and engaging young men. No surprise given their parents and their extended family and circle of friends. And what I'd like to tell you two this morning is one of the things when we give the person who's going to be promoted a worksheet to fill out to kind of get some basic information to help us prepare for this. And in response to the question, what is important to you, Ron? This is what he said. God, my family, the Army, my community, helping others, keeping my techie card that had to get in there some way, being a good citizen in society, living a life to make my family proud, especially my sons. And I'm certain that that's true. But I'm just here to say you can be justifiably proud of your father. The whole family can be proud of what Ron and Nikki and the family have accomplished today. I know he's proud of you, whether it's football, whether it's studies, whether it's everything you've done in the music world, forming your own company. Today is a day where the family gets to sit back and take pride and celebrate these two individuals right here for everything they've done. And it's really cool. Let me do something now that I meant to do at the beginning and talk to you personally. I told you I wasn't going to embarrass you, but I want you to take a deep breath. I want you to stand up for me, if you will. I want you to turn around and look at this audience. These are the people that have come to be here with you and your family today, okay, to celebrate with you. And as I've found over time, because I've done lots of these ceremonies and been part of them myself, blessed to be where I am right now, these days go way too quickly. The time passes all too quickly. You forget who's here. It's quite honestly, with all that goes into putting these ceremonies together, you almost get to the point before the ceremony, okay, just get it over. Get the stars on my shoulder. There's so much going on. And I don't want that day to be like that for you. So I want you to take a deep breath and just soak this in, and not in a prideful, boastful way, but just in a way of, wow, this is amazing. I've worked really hard, and this is what it is. And ladies and gentlemen, for the last time in public, I'd like to introduce you and ask you to welcome and ask you to congratulate Colonel Promotable Ron Sullivan. I told you it wasn't going to be too bad. So good. Well, yes, we do have some stories from some friends. And that's really what I'm going to do, ladies and gentlemen. It was so funny. I was part of a ceremony the other day, and the speaker got up, was a civilian, and simply said, look, I'm not going to be like one of those 3- and 4-star generals who gets up here and just recites somebody's whole career and goes through the thing. And I had to follow that. I said, I don't plan on reciting. That wasn't what I was there. I just had a few things to say, but I thought that was interesting. So again, I don't want to be one of those individuals. I promise you that I won't. Let's just talk a little bit about Ron and without going through his career, because most of you know it. Born in Ruislip, England. Very cool. Parents, again, father assigned to the Air Force, so he was an Air Force brat, but primarily raised in San Antonio, and certainly he and the family call that home right now. Went to Howard University, graduating in 1993 with a BA in Business Administration with a concentration in what else? Information systems, not a surprise. As you might hear later on, I don't know if I'll get to it, but the job that he's got right now at Army Futures Command, doing government contracting, really having his techie card come out and work real hard. He refers to as, that is him as a pig in slop. That's what he loves doing, which is fantastic. He was ROTC, a distinguished military graduate, much like me. I don't know if he chose ROTC or ROTC chose him, because my father could not pay for college. And so I needed a way to pay for it. And that was fantastic. Nothing wrong as well. You give back a couple of years, or you stay for 25 to 30 later on. Attended the University of Kansas Law School on educational delay. And then, and I have to tell you this, no matter how much it hurts, he was originally planning on joining the Air Force, like his father. But because of color blindness, he couldn't be a pilot. So his second choice was to become a lawyer. So again, I've got to look at you and say, let me get this straight. So not only are we your second choice as a service here, you know, Air Force first, oh, okay, I'll take the Army. But as a profession, we're your second choice. So, well, I will just tell you this, your color blindness was our great fortune. So I'm not going to ask you what colors are up there in any of those flags. I'll just simply say, yeah, later on when I ask you to grab the flag, I won't say a particular color, okay? Oh, you can see those colors? Good, great. He came to us in 1996, and again, I won't, and I think you were married around that time, married in 97, that's what I thought, great. Was on active duty for about 9 years. Served at Fort Drum, as you heard, where first son was born, in legal assistant top law and trial counsel south. So no real tie there, great basic building blocks. Fort Meade TDS for a year and keep that, or for 2 years, keep that in mind because there's a quick story about that later on. Contract appeals division here locally, 2 years as a trial attorney. And like a lot of people we see in our world, and I see Mike back there as well too, and so many others, that was it. He was hooked in the contract and fiscal world, doing procurement work as well. And so we knew we'd probably lose him, but went off to Office of Military Commissions to work for Fred Bork as chief prosecutor and Bob Swan for a couple of years, doing great things, and then joined the USAR and has served in Dallas, Austin, Houston, New Orleans, Fort Sheridan, Illinois, went to the U.S. Army War College, or graduated from there. And then also on the civilian side, worked for the Department of Justice. I didn't realize that before I looked. 2 years there, working in the narcotic and dangerous drugs section for 2 years in DC, and then switched over to Department of Veterans Affairs, where he stayed for 12 years because he was, again, a pig in slop there, doing information technology, government contracts, and working in, where else? Austin, Texas. Pretty cool. That's great. And then hired away by the U.S. Army Futures Command, and that is our good fortune. There's a story I like to tell about that, and Ron indicates it's not true, but I went down to, everybody still hear me? I'll stay by here. I went down to do an Article 6 visit, which is kind of our inspection of it. We have to, the Judge Ethics General is required, most people in the audience know, to inspect every office 2 years. So I went down to Army's Futures Command, and Ron was kind of tasked or wanted to take me over to the Capital Software Factory, which is really where Army Futures Command is just working with private industry in not telling private industry what we want and how we want it, but essentially letting private industry tell us what their capabilities are. And we match that up with our needs, or we determine exactly what our needs are based upon their capabilities and what's out there. And so we walked in, we went up to the, I don't know what floor it was, 11th floor, and we walked back to a back room where we were just going to have a short meeting. And there were a number of individuals that were seated around the table that clearly looked like they were Navy SEALs or special operators. They all looked military, but they had the beards and rough, tough guys and so forth. And one of them stands up as we walk into the room and comes over and kind of gets right in front of Ron and I and says like, yeah, you know, essentially putting up his hand, not allowed to come in here. You guys, you know, don't know who you are and so forth. And then another individual comes over and I kid you not says, dude, you don't know who this is? This is the man. This is Ron Sullivan. At which point this guy, I'm sorry, Mr. Sullivan, I didn't know. And then we just had carte blanche. We got whatever we want. They were making eggs for us. They were doing everything. I'm telling you, it was, and that's when I realized commander of the Army Futures Command, I think you might be. No, he's doing great work down there, just as an aside as well too. I do need to read off of Ron's sheet, if you'll bear with me. I thought this was important as well. I've got a couple stories that I'll end with on him, but this will allow me to kind of give you my thoughts on Ron as well. 3 stories when he talked about the jobs. Obviously, he talked about military commissions and working down in Guantanamo Bay. You can imagine how significant that was for him. He also talked about his tour at Contract Appeals Division, because like I mentioned, that's what essentially made it such that he wanted to get involved in procurement law. But just bear with me as I read these 3 other things that Ron said. 1, serving as a legal advisor to the 9/11 casualty assistance officers and other teams at the Pentagon, working for victims and their families in the wake of the attacks. It was truly eye-opening, rewarding, and a very humbling experience. Second, he says, as a trial defense counsel, I prepared a clemency case for a decorated Vietnam veteran who served 2 tours in Vietnam, but was convicted, unfortunately, of murdering a fellow soldier in a fight over barracks drug use. He served his sentence in the USDB and then was paroled. After that, he earned his master's degree and a PhD and was a shadow founding member of Farm Aid. The soldier served his parole without any incident, for over 20 years, but unfortunately had never completed any out-processing documents, which later triggered a parole revocation. Ron worked for almost 2 years on that case, and unfortunately, the service member died before President Bush could grant clemency, and a posthumous request was denied. So I'll tell you, let's work on that case together going forward. You have my promise. And then third, while in my first tour in the Army in the JAG Corps, I was on the Fort Drum Suicide Prevention Task Force. Because of the northern location, some days the sun goes down before 6 o'clock, creating a depression and causing a cabin fever and other dark thoughts and feelings, a common problem in the North Country. I had no idea that the impact that working on that team would have in dealing with people all these years. And so that just gives you kind of a snapshot in his own words of who Ron Sullivan is and what has molded him into the great leader he is. And when you hear the stories that I'm going to read very, very quickly, but I think it's important for you to hear from other people as opposed to me, I'll simply say, I certainly have found Ron to be everything as he dictates or he talks about in these things, to be the people person. I know that he's had formative experience in his life, not just with his family and in raising his sons and being married to Nikki, but in the jobs that he's had and in the people like Larry Morris and so many others in this room that have served as mentors for him. And I've certainly have tried to be in that class as well, to assist him as well. And that's why it's such a humbling experience for me to be here as well. But one of the things I'll ask is some of our SIO team strategic initiatives or engagements to reach out to folks from Ron's life who know him well, who can give somewhat humorous stories sometimes, and those are common. So hold on to your seat, Ron. But other things that I think are telling as well. And the first one comes from Colonel Dave Barrett, who's the SJ of the 108th Training Command. He says, I met Ron at my second duty station on active duty at Fort Meade, Maryland in TDS. He says, first, Ron set the example of work-life balance as he always made time for his family and spoke frequently of his wife, his son, and the second one on the way. He always prioritized family, and to this day, I am never in a conversation with Ron in which he does not mention his family or ask about mine by name. Second, he taught me the ways of TDS. He referred to it as something else, but I'm going to call it TDS. I had the pleasure of sitting in Ron's office, and this is a great story, in my first week or two on the job as he worked with TDS clients. He had a way of speaking to our soldier clients in a manner that not only showed great care for them personally, but also contained some tough love when he realized the soldier was headed down a path of denial that was not going to end in a good way. One day I was in Ron's office as the soldier was telling Captain Sullivan some crazy story was simply impossible, filled with contradictory statements and against the great weight of the evidence. When the soldier was done telling his tale, Ron asked the client, do you love your family? When the soldier was done telling his tale, the client gave a puzzled look to Captain Sullivan and said in a questioning voice, of course, sir, of course I do. Ron, without missing a beat, said, you keep telling that BS story and you're not going to be seeing them for a long time. Needless to say, the soldier was shocked, as was Dave Barrett, but as Captain Sullivan continued the counseling, the client realized that Captain Sullivan had his best interest in mind. While this may be a humorous story, it actually says a lot about Ron. He truly cared about our soldiers, recognized that most had a real chance at rehabilitation, and he worked to ensure the justice system worked for them. Second story comes from Colonel Jose Cora, his current supervisor as the SJ at Army Futures Command. And you know where this is going already. I think everybody who knows Jose does. Ever since Ron has been selected for promotion, he turns off his MS Teams camera, so I can't see whether he's in uniform or civilian attire. So unfortunately, I don't know whether I'm speaking with Mr. Ron Sullivan or Colonel Promotable, soon to be Brigadier General Ron Sullivan. And this makes a huge difference in the tone of my discussion. For Mr. Sullivan, it's, hey, Ron, I need this by COB today. For Brigadier General Sullivan, it's, sir, Would you like to take a look at this over the next few days? If not, no worries. I'll propose 3 courses of action to you and you can look at them over beer and determine what's up. So smart man, that Jose. But he does say seriously, this is an extremely well-deserved promotion for Ron. And everyone at the AFC-OSJ is very excited for you and your family. You have AFC-OSJ's full trust and confidence in your ability to excel, helping TJAG lead the JAG Corps enterprise. And at AFC-OSJ, we cannot wait until you get promoted because they all want selfies with you with your new GO belt on. So hopefully that's, never mind. And then Colonel Kevin Barnes, who was a cadet with Ron at Howard University. And this is really cool. On April 1st, I was on the first Buffalo JAG Zoom call and everyone had an opportunity to speak. One after another, fellow Buffalo JAG spoke highly about Ron Sullivan and the impact he had on their lives as a mentor, coach, teacher, and trainer. That call prompted me to send Ron the following text message later that evening, quote, "Hearing your name called so many times tonight validates my belief and my prayer that you will be on the GO selection list when it comes out. I am truly proud to serve with you and to call you my friend." Awesome. And then he wrote to some of your fellow cadets who have continued to serve or go on to other things. And one, I won't give you the name, simply said, "Our guess our soon-to-be Brigadier General has always been really good about covering his tracks." Nice friend there. Second one is from Sylvia Hollywood James. Okay, know her well. Ron Sullivan was one, and this is a great story. A little bit long, but it's great. Ron Sullivan was one of my first people I met during my first week at Howard University. We were both freshmen in an Army ROTC. You know where this story's going? The bond was instant once I shared that I grew up in San Antonio, his hometown. Over the next 4 years, we shared many milestone moments to include commissioning and graduation in 1993. And here are 2 of my fondest and funniest memories. One, I asked Ron for a ride and he obliged as he was one of the few freshmen with a car on campus. As we proceeded to walk to his car, he warned that it wasn't new, but it would get us from point A to point B, if point B was maybe 5 yards away. That it did. The part he didn't mention is that the driver and passenger doors were held shut inside the car with a bungee cord. We literally had a bungee cord going from one door to the other across our bodies to hold the car together. Ron has always been a make a way, find a way type person, and this was proof. Second, and this kind of concerns me a little bit, Ron arrived late to his own commissioning ceremony. I'm sure you have your own version of facts, but I'm sticking with hers. We actually thought that he missed it as we had already taken the oath, but just as the MC called his name, he appeared out of nowhere and marched onto the field without skipping a beat. Don't follow his lead on this, okay? He later took the oath in a private ceremony with just Lieutenant General Short, retired, and his family. We all got a good chuckle as that was the Ron we knew and loved. There has never been a doubt in any of our minds that he would be successful. He has always been humble and supportive of others. It is always great to see good things happen to good people. Congratulations, Ron. So I simply could end by saying, we're just blessed that Ron showed up on time for the ceremony today, I think, so which was awesome. So, and then I'll end with this. And Ron did not know that I had this. This is a letter from a professor of Ron's at the University of Kansas School of Law. So you can imagine it's dated October 11th of 1995. And that's what's great about being a 3-star general, having access to all of the files, whether you want us to see them or not. But this is all good. He says a lot to begin with, but he starts or ends up. I have found Mr. Sullivan to be a delightful, inquisitive, and excellent student. He frequently found himself at the receiving end of my questions during my Socratic method of teaching, so I was given ample opportunity to assess his capabilities to think, comprehend, and respond in a fairly pressured situation. I found his responses to my inquiries to be well-reasoned, clearly presented, sensitive to volatile social issues, and always correct. He showed a command of the material that demonstrated determined preparation for each class and a real interest in the law. He frequently asked probing and provocative questions, showing his depth of knowledge of the subject area and his drive to learn. The class's reaction and attention to his remarks, and this is what's so true still today, underscored what I have learned since I have been here, that he is so well thought of and respected by the student body. That feeling toward Mr. Sullivan is also evident with my colleagues on the faculty. He is, in fact, one of the most popular students in the school. Did you know that about your dad? He's popular. Okay. He's very active in school activities as well as outside interests. He can be seen volunteering on school projects and helping classmates in a variety of matters. His classmates view him as the consummate team player. The students validated this observation with his election as president of the Student Bar Association, the law student government body, in his second year of law school. These qualities, combined with his intelligence and work habits, will make him an exceptional legal talent. He will be an outstanding lawyer and a fine addition to the legal staff of the Army Judge Advocate General's Court. I urge that you hire him immediately. We did, and there hasn't been a single regret since that day. And so please. That's what's so great about looking back at letters like that, because a majority of the time for our people and the quality of the folks we have in our Corps, those folks who write those letters hit the nail on the head, and we have people who serve so long and honorably, but that's not always the case. And so it's refreshing to see not only somebody who was so supportive and had it right that we should hire you, but really got it perfect in terms of the person that you were then. And it's nice to know that you haven't changed. Some people, when success comes in, change over time, and not Ron at all. And so with that, Ron, I think it's time to not make you wait anymore. I'm going to ask you to join me, please. Up here, sorry if, please. And so before we go ahead and do this, could we turn that down just a little bit? Before we go ahead and do this, I always like to talk to the individual as well. So Ron, I'll just remind you, you've gotten here because of your amazing performance so far in every single job that you've had, but you know that you're being promoted based upon your demonstrated potential. And both of those are absolutely off the charts. And so you deserve this day in spades, there's no doubt. However, I think you know the earning never stops in our Army. And simply pinning on the rank doesn't necessarily allow you to say, I've arrived, not that you would ever think that. But the earning is even more. You have to earn this rank every single day. And what I've found is the minute it goes on, people expect more of you. You'll walk out that door, not as a colonel, but as a brigadier general, and the expectations are great. And you're up to the task. But I charge you to continue to do all of those things that you've done that have gotten you to this point, and then beyond. And that's taking care of your people the way you've taken care of them. It's taking care of your family, each and every one of them, your extended family. But it's also taking care of yourself as well, too, because we're in this for the long haul. And if you don't take care of yourself, all of the rest kind of fades away. I know you're up to the task, but I charge you to monitor those three things and make sure you're doing it. You're going to be amazingly successful in this role. And again, it's my honor to preside over this ceremony and get to make sure that you pin on the rank that you so deserve. So with that, why don't we go ahead and publish the orders, please?
We ask for Mrs. Nicole Sullivan and Mrs. Clementine Sullivan to please come forward. Attention to orders. The President of the United States has reposed special trust and confidence in the patriotism, valor, fidelity, and abilities of Colonel Ronald D. Sullivan. In view of these qualities and his demonstrated potential for increased responsibility, he is therefore promoted in the United States Army Reserve to the rank of Brigadier General. Promotion is effective 1 October 2021 with a date of rank 1 October 2021 by order of the Secretary of the Army.
Please go ahead and take your seats.
Brigadier General Sullivan's wife and mother will now remove the colonel's rank on his jacket and pin on his one-star Brigadier General's rank.
So I know there's another part to this, but we've all been waiting for this moment for a long time. Ladies and gentlemen, Brigadier General Ron Sullivan.
We ask for Brandon and Colin Sullivan to please come forward.
Please take your seats.
Brigadier General Sullivan's sons, Brandon and Colin, will now replace the colonel's rank on his shirt with one-star Brigadier General's rank.
I think they both got you by a couple inches there, Ron. Awesome. Mhm.
Ladies and gentlemen, Lieutenant General Risch will now present Brigadier General Sullivan with his promotion certificate.
Yeah.
After the
please.
family takes a photo.
Photo bomb.
Oh yeah, take your mask off if you want.
That's great. That's awesome. Nice. Congratulations. Awesome. Good. All right.
Ladies and gentlemen, Lieutenant General Risch will now administer the oath of office to Brigadier General Sullivan.
So if you'll bear with me just a few seconds longer, we normally do the oath at this point in time. It's the officer's choice whether they want to recite the oath reaffirming their oath. Ron has chosen to do so, no surprise whatsoever. But we've started a new tradition that some folks like to do, and that is I've asked Ron if he would like to, and he agreed to grab the flag in his left hand. And I think it's not merely symbolic. It's a great thing to do to remind the individual as they're reaffirming their oath exactly to what they are reaffirming that oath. And if you recall, they swear to support and defend the Constitution of the United States. That is an ideal. That is a set of concepts, aspirations, something we strive to achieve. We're not perfect. We don't always achieve as a country, but we certainly strive all the time to get there. And that's embodied in that flag, which represents that ideal, those concepts. And so we feel that if you have that in your hand, it kind of brings the oath back home. And so Ron, if you will, please grab the flag with your left hand, raise your right hand, stand and face me and repeat after me. I state your full name,
I, Ronald Sullivan,
having been appointed an officer
having been appointed an officer
in the Army of the United States
in the Army of the United States
in the rank of Brigadier General,
in the rank of Brigadier General,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend
that I will support and defend
the Constitution of the United
the
States
Constitution of the United States
against all enemies,
against all enemies,
foreign or domestic,
foreign or domestic,
and that I will bear true faith
and I will bear true faith
and allegiance
and
to the same,
allegiance to the same,
that I take this obligation freely
that I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well and faithfully
and that I will well and faithfully
discharge the duties
discharge the duties
of the office upon which I'm about to enter.
of the office upon which I'm about to enter.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations. Well done, Billy. That's out of here. That's great day. Great day.
Lieutenant General Risch, thank you, sir. You may be seated. I ask for Command Sergeant Major Mike Bostic to please come forward and join Brigadier General Sullivan. The history of the General Officer Flag dates back to 1887, when the Secretary of War authorized officers of the Corps of Engineers to carry on boats a square scarlet flag with a white castle in the center. The current design, a scarlet flag with a white star and gold fringe, was authorized in 1947. The General Officer Flag is used to mark the presence of a general officer. This flag, whether flown above a military installation or displayed inside, indicates the rank of the general by the number of white stars on the distinctive red background. Brigadier General Sullivan will uncase his general officer's flag. Flag bearer, bring forth the general officer flag. Ladies and gentlemen, you've already clapped before I got to say. Give another round warm of applause to Brigadier General Ronald Sullivan.
The Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? The Lord is the strength of my life. Of whom shall I be afraid? There's no way to start talking today without saying thanks to God for this moment. None of this would be. None of this would be possible without him. General Risch, thank you so much for presiding today. That means so much to me and my family. Your words, even talking to Dave Barrett, I'm not sure if that's even allowed, but thank you, sir. Acknowledging my friends, my family, my inner circle, I appreciate it. There's a few people I have to start with commenting about. There are TAJAGs past who have been mentoring me, General Gray, who's on the line, General Altenberg, who I'm sure is there. If DJAG is there, thanks for coming. Thanks for all that you've done in my life so far. Thanks for being there to provide those words of wisdom and mentorship throughout the time. The BGs, present and past, not a singing group, but some really important people in my life. Bill, Jerry, Bill, thank you for your team who've supported me amazingly these last several weeks putting this together. Legal Command is an amazing organization, and I'm a product of the Legal Command, and they've supported me very well. Thank you. Jerry, I think we've been together since 2002, and to see us back together again these last several years is amazing. Aaron, George, thanks, and Jaime. Jaime, you're no longer the newest BG in the JAG Corps now, but you guys are all important to me. Next is a bench of people who, if you have this bench of people in your life, it's no way that you can't be something or somebody. And everyone whose lives they've touched, they've absolutely made someone out of you. So Brigadier General Birch, who's on the line, General Chitwood, Glanville, General Shafulo, these general officers have, I read something recently, and these folks have actually done it. They've brought me to the party. They made sure I was dancing. They actually also corrected my vision to help me understand what possibility is. The possibility of standing here, they made that possible. They gave me chances to fail. They gave me chances to get it right. When I failed, they mentored me through it. And they gave me course corrections along the way. The one thing that they each did is never overlooked a mistake, but showed me the way to get through. Thank you. Carrie Ritchie Smith, congratulations. Thank you for coming. She's a basic course buddy of mine from 1996. She and Veronica Hale, where are you, Veronica Hale? Veronica Hale's in the back. They were here and at the beginning of JAG Corpsdom, and I'm glad that they're here today. Congratulations and good luck to you. Matt Ramsey is a former colonel of ours. He's still a colonel, always a colonel. But one thing he does every weekend when I have to do military duty, he sends me a picture of himself on a boat, fishing, or with his dog or something to remind me that I won't be doing something every Saturday for the rest of my life. But thanks, Matt. CWAP, Chief Prescott, thank you for being here. I want to thank you and all of your amazing legal administrators. We don't all know what they do all the time, but we know one thing: they're absolutely professional at everything they do. Thank you and your legal administrators. And Regimental, thank you for helping me take that first step, taking a flag out. That meant so much to me. You are the leader of non-commissioned officers who, any non-commissioned officer who's leading, who wears a JAG Corps crest, we have one of the best at the helm of our JAG Corps as our regimental, and I want to thank you. Sergeant Major Pompey, thanks for you and your team that helped support us today. And next to you, Sergeant Major, is my first reserve NCO, now Command Sergeant Major Beth Cassie, who is probably the only person who still pulls out a spoon or a stick and slaps me on the back of my hand when I do something that should not be done right. She does not let a mistake go without trying to correct it. Thank you, Sergeant Major. I want to say a couple words about Major General Ken Gray and Brigadier General Ural D. Glanville. They would be what you would call forerunners. I wouldn't be here today possibly without the examples that they have set, the encouragement they've provided. Everyone in this room has a race to run. Some of you have multiple races. I share a race with them. They have carried a baton, and I've got the baton, gentlemen. I will continue to run with the baton. I will carry it with the excellence that you have and try to make you proud and our entire JAG Corps proud. Even the scars that I have on my back from being one of General Glanville's deputy commanders. They've mostly healed. But thank you for those scars. Let me point out a couple of people in my life who are here, some in this room, some who are not. Lieutenant Colonel Don Catron, he's on Zoom. He's in Pleasanton, Texas, and he was my junior ROTC instructor. And he took a few moments to teach me the fact that prior proper preparation prevents piss poor performance. And I've carried that my entire life since meeting him. Thank you, Lieutenant Colonel Catron. Colonel Ricky Coleman, who's on the Zoom, he took us through ROTC at Howard University, and anything short of getting it right, you'd have to do it again. And I have no idea what our family was doing trying to get off of the exit for Andrews Air Force Base back in 1996 when we were commissioned, 1993 we were commissioned, but we were about 5 minutes late, maybe 7 minutes late, maybe 8 minutes late. But I did walk right in at the time that I was supposed to walk in, and that was a memorable event for us. In this room are two folks who I owe a great Colonel Patricia McDaniel is here. Would you wave your hands, Pat? Colonel Pat McDaniel and I shared a wall for 12 years at the VA. But what I inherited while sharpening up on contracts with her as she retired and joined the VA, what I learned was leadership, diversity, equity, inclusion. We're all only as strong as each other, and a reminder of that every day. Plus a little gossiping here or there, but I spent 12 years with a wall with her. Pat, thank you for all you've done. Slide, please. I've been living a dream my entire life. These four individuals are the folks whose dream I live in. Gonzalez Sullivan Sr., Letitia Sullivan, Roy Sledge, Angelina Sledge. They dream stuff that I can only imagine, but we're here today living it. Their dreams are the dreams that have lifted me my entire life. They could not imagine cell phones. They could not imagine their grandson standing here with a star on his shoulder. Slide, please. This gentleman is the gentleman who showed me how to stand up straight, walk straight, talk right, be a good citizen, do what's right, trust God, be a father to my sons and a husband to my wife. Slide, please. This lady here, if you ever find someone giving me trouble, make sure she's not around. She's the lady in the front who's crying. She started crying up here, and I told her it's okay. No better cheerleader than that lady right there. Slide, please. This is a crew that I call Team Sully 512. So all the fight, bring it down some, please. All the fight, all of the toughness that you think my mother has, this crew right here is even tougher. My wife has no idea these pictures are up. She found out this morning during the sound check and the screen check. So that's the only picture. That's the last one. So this crew, my wife, Nicole Floyd Sullivan. And for Game of Thrones fans, you'll understand this. Nicole Floyd Sullivan, first of her name. The Unburnt. My Khaleesi, my Chief of Chiefs. Our song is Angel by Anita Baker, and there's a line in there that says, ask me to go with you, you know I will, and you have absolutely gone everywhere, and I thank you. I could not be here without you. You've been the best three-legged race partner a man could ever ask for. Thank you. Your parents have been absolutely amazing. Eddie Floyd and Sonia Wright. So everyone does not know this. I know she's listening, but the maddest person in the world right now is Sonia Wright, who would love to be here. But just for pandemic purposes, it was best that she is in Cedar Park, Texas at her home. I hope she just received a delivery of roses from me to let her know you mean that much to me. And I hope that she can feel like you're here with us. Brandon and Colin. These are my twins, if you guys haven't noticed. All right. We have the exact same muscles. Theirs are just, we have the exact same bones. You know, God made us all. Theirs are just a little different size. I think mostly when we're standing next to each other, the floor kind of adjusts a little bit. The best times are when I see them in a clown mirror. So I see them with a clown mirror. We're all the same size. And then other times I look back at them and they're so much bigger than me. You're the reason why I get up every day and fight so hard. Thank you. You're the dreams of those dreamers. You're more than anything I could ever be. Just keep going. Keep moving forward. Don't stop. I've got a couple gifts. If you guys would just give me a moment. That's you. That's for you. These are called transitions to keep me from crying. Huh? Slide, please. You can turn that off. Yeah, that's fine. I did not get here by myself. You've heard me say that several times. I've got the best cadre of colonels that I've run with and sharpened myself with and encouraged me and looked in the mirror to check myself, not just my gig line, but my character, to make sure that the decisions that I was making was right. I can't run as fast as Kyson Johnson, but I tell you what, if Kyson Johnson's running, it reminds me that I need to do that. If I need someone to check my pace, I don't ask Tyson Johnson, I ask someone slower than him. But at life, all you can do is keep running with the crowd that you're with. And if you think that a Peloton, that concept, this group at the front of the pack that's running, I've tried my best to stay with that pack. I tried to flap in the front sometime, was not too prideful to go to the edge, slipped back to the main crowd every now and then, and fought hard to get back to the front of the crowd. And I've run with you guys, and I appreciate the sharpening, the tooling, the peer mentorship, everything that you have done. You're the Army's finest, you're the world's finest lawyers, and I thank you all. Lieutenant colonels, majors, captains, your time is coming. Just keep pressing forward, keep moving forward, keep doing your thing. So the Army tells you to saw the JAG Corps tells you to saw the log in front of you. They said that when I was a lieutenant, and I had no idea really what that meant. Then by the time you become a senior captain, you understand that sawing the log in front of you is do the task that's given to you. You can't really do that well if you're worried about someone else's job. You can't do that well if you're worried about the next job. But if you do your job and you saw the log in front of you, you'll get good, perfect cuts eventually. One of the concepts that I've taken from that is the concept of a cog. To take a cog, and I usually have one with me, but if you think of yourself as a cog in a machine, and this is going to turn the team, no I in team concept on its head. I don't apologize for it, but I want you to look at the word team and see yourself in it. It says me, M-E, it's there. You've got to take care of yourself. You've got to do your job. You've got to look out for your teammates. If you're not there, the machine may not work properly. So I ask everyone to continue to be a cog where you're planted. Continue to do your part. The whole machine is counting on you. Active component folks, reserve component folks, National Guards folks, you're going to get moved from one place in the machine to another. So you can saw your log, you can do your part at the first place, but when they plug you in someplace else, be ready for that job. Let the whole machine count on you. We all are. I'm going to wrap up with a couple of things I have to tell you. I'm here because I like serving. That flag means a whole lot to me. It means every person who says, thank you for your service. It means every person who doesn't. It means every person who likes the flag. It means every person who doesn't. It means every place in America. It means every place around the whole world. I'm here because my dad said it was a noble thing to do, to serve. I think one of the President Bushes make that famous. And it's all over the Bush School in Texas A&M. Public service is a noble calling. But my dad said that to me when I was a young man. He told me that you could reach out to a man and shake his hand, do what you say and say what you mean. Say what you mean and do what you say. And I've tried to do that. And I hope that you guys who have worked with me, served with me, understand that that's why I work so hard and play so hard. This is why I work so hard and play so hard. You are why I work so hard and play so hard. Chaplain Herr Varnon is an old friend of mine, and he is going to come close and do a benediction shortly. But I'm going to go to my seat. But before I do, I just want to leave you with the Irish blessing, and it is that may the sun shine warmly on your faces. May the wind be ever at your backs. May the rain always fall softly on your fields. Until we meet again, may God hold you in the palm of his hands. Thank you, Army Strong.
Ladies and gentlemen, please remain standing for the benediction given by Chaplain Varnon.
Let us pray. Father, we look forward to great things from Brigadier General Sullivan. We expect nothing less than the best as he proceeds under your umbrella of love, grace, and mercy. Please shine your light upon him and his family as they go out to do their best for you, our country, and the Army. Please bless them in this future assignment and his future assignment. And now, the Lord bless us and keep us. The Lord make his face to shine upon us and be gracious unto us. The Lord lift his countenance upon us and give us peace this day and forever. In your name I pray, amen.
Ladies and gentlemen, please remain standing for the playing of the Army song. Its words are printed on the back of your programs. You are encouraged to sing along. And please remain standing for the departure of the official party.
March along, sing a song with the army of the free. Count the brave, count the true, who have fought to victory. We're the army and proud of our name. We're the army and proudly proclaim. First to fight for the right and to build the nation's might. And the army goes rolling along. Proud of all we have done, fighting till the battle's won. And the army goes rolling along. And it's high, high day, the army's on its way. Count off the cages loud and strong. For wherever we go, you will always know that the army goes rolling along.
Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of Lieutenant General Risch, thank you for attending today's ceremony. Please join us for a receiving line in front of the flags to congratulate Brigadier General Sullivan and his family.